How do I get this thing to move? Can you guys see my screen?
We can.
I can't get this thing to move out of my way so I can get to my. There we go. Slide.
There you go. You're
All
there.
right. All right. I picked a fourth grade standard, and it is SS4H1.D. It's explain the writing of the Declaration of Independence, and you are to include who wrote it, how it was written, why it was necessary, and how it was a response to tyranny and the abuse of power. So the activity is called Voice of Independence. And the class will be broken up into groups of four, and each group will be able to choose which activity they would like to do. They can either write it out, where they'll pretend that they're a colonist and they'll have to write a letter or a speech to their friends, family, or the Continental Congress. And in their letter, they have to explain why independence is needed, the unfair treatment of by the king, and why the Declaration is important. Or they could draw it out and make a 4 to 6 panel comic strip that highlights the cause and effect of the Declaration of Independence. And in that, they need to include King George's unfair actions, the colonists' reactions, the writing and signing of the Declaration, and end with how change begins after. Or they can choose to act it out. They can perform a skit that's 2 to 3 minutes. And some of the choices they can do is the meeting of the Congress, writing of the Declaration, and the decision to break from Britain. And some of the roles they can choose is Thomas Jefferson, Ben Franklin, John Adams, and the narrator. And then at the end of the class, they will present to the group. That's about it.
Awesome. What creative ideas. It's good.
I think it would be fun, and it gives them all a chance to pick something that they're good at, so that way everybody is not having to do something that they might not be
That's right.
able to do, or so it allows some differentiation in there as well.
That is great. That is great. Great, great, great. I love that. And all of it is very hands-on work. It's not busy work. It's creative work, if you will. So we love that. I think they would be very engaged, and I think learning would definitely occur. Dana, do you mind going second today?
No, I don't mind.
All right. Quicker we do it, the quicker we get out of here, right?
All right. Yes, ma'am. Okay, can y'all see my screen?
Give it just a minute.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes a minute for it to show up. Yeah, we can see it now.
Okay. Um, I chose third grade because I teach third grade.
Hmm.
I chose an activity we did in class, and the standard was focused on the types of productive resources. So, like each week we talked about natural, then the next week it went on to human capital, and then the last one was entrepreneurship. So that's what I have on the screen. So basically, we did like a whole review that whole week on entrepreneurship. And then the last 2 days of that week, I gave them this worksheet that you see on the slideshow. So it gave them an opportunity to create their own business, name their business. They can design it the way they want to, as you can see on the building. And they would have to answer the following questions on here. And I had them share their business proposal in class and just share like, the following questions like, what's your idea? Who would work for you? What would you sell? And you can either take it a step further, like, okay, well, if this business doesn't work because it is risk taking, what would you do afterwards? Like, what would be your plan B? So they enjoy doing this activity, and because some of them do want to, be their own boss in
Yeah.
third grade, believe it or not. So it's, they can write, draw at the same time, and just be creative and share their ideas.
I love that. That reminds me of that upcoming economic, if you've taken a look at designing that economic system that you're going to have to do, I think for what, next week, that's very much like that assignment. I think it's I really think it's out of fourth grade, but it is a good one. That's great. Yeah. Kids would love that. Yeah. They would like that. And there are entrepreneurs out there, that you're teaching. They are the ones that will rise above and be those entrepreneurs, and they're born as babies and they come up through school. And so they're the ones that I remember. I had a cousin of mine who was very much an entrepreneur at a very young age, and he sold hot dogs out of his grandmother's grocery store. And I think he was 9 years old up there selling hot dogs. I mean, he would cook them in the little hot dog cooker, and people would come in and buy them. And he was very motivated about it. And some kids are. Some kids are just naturally are that way. So that would very much tweak their interest, if you will. Great, great idea. Kaylin, you're next.
Okay. Can y'all see my screen?
Give it, yeah, we can see it clearly. Yes.
Okay, perfect. Okay. I did a third grade standard. The standard was to give examples of the interdependence in trade and explain the benefits of the voluntary exchange. So my activity one that I put in my lesson plan included the hook and link, but it's where the teacher would give them a item. So it'd be like a cool eraser, a cool pencil, or a cool little snack. And the teacher will allow students to exchange only if they're wanting to. And this will give the students experience of volunteer exchange at the beginning of the lesson. Activity two is the partner sorting activity, where the teacher will partner up kids and they will get together and read the cards together and sort them with the producer and consumer, which one is a producer, which one's a consumer. And then the last activity, which was my third activity, was my favorite one. And it kind of brought out the kindergarten teacher in me a little bit, but breaking the class up into two different groups, and one being a consumer and the other group being the producer. And students will role play by using play money and setting up tables and desks to use to create whatever they imagine, and setting a timer for 10 to 15 minutes and then having them swap so they both get the experience of being a producer and a consumer. And them like setting up markets, setting up being a hairstylist, whatever they come up with, and just doing like a hands-on activity and connecting to real life. But that is fun.
For those of you that teach the third through fifth grade, do you find that when you do things like this, that you have their undivided attention? I'm just asking, as someone that teaches older kids, doesn't this rank high with them if you presented something like this to them?
They will like it, but it's just well, for me, my school, we don't have enough time to do
Yeah. Yeah.
that. Maybe if it was like stretched, yeah, but we just don't have enough
You don't have the
time.
time to
But
devote
they
to
would
that.
love it though. Yeah.
They would love it. That was what
Yeah.
I was after. Yeah, because sometimes, I know as they grow older, they don't want to get in front of people and do things. But then again, you do have those that like that sort of thing. But I mean, I know kindergarten's all in. I know first grade, second grade, but I don't know what happens in third, fourth, and fifth. Does anybody have a different feeling about how responsive they would be with something hands-on like this activity or any of these that have been explained?
They're very engaged with the third grade classes that I see and I've worked with. Is hands-on activities work for them, because in my school they actually have time for social studies, because we have like third grade, like Miss Stevenson's, she teaches third grade block, and they have like a whole hour and something in there, and she has all these hands-on activities for them, exactly like you guys are describing.
So that works well, doesn't it?
It works
Good,
well with
good.
them, yes.
And I think kids remember that. I think that's what they go home and talk about. They don't talk about the note taking. They don't talk about, the boring stuff that we have to do. But they talk about this. This rings a bell with them. I guarantee you they're sharing with someone. Okay, Rashonda, do you mind going next?
Okay. So, Can you see my screen?
It's coming. Hang on.
Okay. Has it
It
come up
hasn't
yet?
shown up yet. You might try again.
Um,
Just
try.
unshare and then share again, maybe. Maybe it didn't process. I don't know. Has a mind of its own.
Okay. You see it now?
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
So I did mine on a third grade um level, and the standard is the SS3H1. Oh, let me get that off. Describe early American Indian cultures and their development in North America. So it's to locate the regions and where the American Indians settled according to the six regions that they were in, and also compare and contrast how the American Indians in each region used the environment to obtain food, clothing, and shelter. And so these are my objectives that I have, that the students should be able to locate and identify the major regions of the North American where early American Indians settled, including the Arctic, Northwest, Southwest Plains, Northeast, and the Southeast. And also I did it for the SS3H1B. The students will be able to compare and contrast the American Indians in the regions and what they used. For my engaging activities, the first activity is basically where the students will be given a blank map and they're going to have to fill out the six regions and where they're located. And then also they'll have like little pictures that either they can draw or print out pictures where they have to put in which regions was like these type of foods or clothing or different housing was at. And so for activity number 2, it's a region relay game. So I'll split the class into 2 teams, and each one is gonna be like maybe like a red team and a blue team, and I have those different cards flipped over, and the teams have to race to match what the cards are showing the Native American foods, clothes, and the shelters. So around the room, I'll have like different tables set up, so with different regions, and they have to compare the card that's in their hand and put it in compared to the right region that it goes to, and then come back and tag the next person. And at the end, we'll go and see which ones were correct and why it was correct, and if not, why it wasn't correct and which actual region it goes to.
That is
So
a
for my
great game. Wow.
Yeah. And then my third activity, they're going to do a compare and contrast poster. So they're going to be in partners or groups for this one, like groups of 3. So
Mhm.
they'll do a side by side. They can do a T chart or either the Venn diagram. And then once they do that and compare where the similarities, the differences are with the clothing, shelter, they'll come up and present in front of the class their poster and tell us each what all they did. And then as a wrap up on a sticky note, I have a question that I have to answer is, what is one way the Native Americans use their environment? Once they write it on a sticky note, then they'll come up and say it, and then as a class we'll discuss, okay, if it's right, wrong, or why not, and then they'll stick that sticky note right up on the board up under the question that I have. And
That's
that's the idea
awesome.
I got. That idea I got from pushing into one of the ELA classes, because she divides the team into groups when it comes to like comprehension, where we're studying for tests and stuff. So I like that idea, and also the sticky note where they have to write a main idea in groups as well as present in front of the class their main idea, and they have to write like 3 statements up under it.
That is great. What a great way to do that with what I think about there is maybe a student that's not that strong with those things.
Yeah,
That would really
that's
help,
what I was thinking.
Yeah,
Yeah, and it
definitely.
helps
And I
with the
love
third
that
graders that I
game.
pushed into.
Yeah, and
Mhm.
that game had so many teaching things going on. You're not just playing a game, you're really teaching them all about those likes and differences and different parts of what they were like. I love that. It was great. So creative. Wow. All right. Antonique, would you go next, please?
Sure. Let me just share my screen.
Some great ideas, guys.
Can everyone see?
Yes, we can see.
All right. So my name is Anique Aguilar. This is social studies teaching activity. I chose the fourth grade because I'm going into the fourth grade. So I chose that one. The Georgia standard that I use is SS4H3, which is explaining the westward expansion in America. They have to describe the causes and events of war in 1812, describe the impact of the westward expansion, including Louisiana Purchase, Lewis and Clark's expedition, and the Trail of Tears. I have two engaging activities. One would be the westward expansion simulation, where the students are going to work within teams and they're going to role play as pioneer families make decisions about supplies, routes, and dangers as they travel west. So this is a physical activity. They're going to have to like move around amongst each other and figure out using the classroom. The classroom is going to be the map and they're going to map out like with scenario cards as well. So this is an immersive simulation that builds empathy and understanding of the challenges that they face during the expansion. So the classroom will be the map itself. So they will choose their placements as they're moving along. My second activity is a timeline creation where the students are going to work together to build like a very large class timeline of the key events in the westward expansion using visual dates and artifacts. This activity is going to help them see the order of the events that happens as they're connecting through creativity and working in groups.
I love that. I want to mention that I love that immersive scenario where
Yeah.
they have a simulation that they're doing. I don't
Mhm.
know how many of you have experienced this, but I worked at a um, I guess you would call it a low poverty school area. That is where we were. What is it? A chapter one or whatever they call it, school, Title I school. I know it was a Title I school. We had 77% of our students at that time that ate free or reduced lunch, whatever the criteria was. But my point is this: our administration and when I say administration, it came from the superintendent and the board, felt it was very important for us to truly have a better understanding of what it is like to live in poverty. If we think maybe we're all not richy rich, or we're not even rich, we're just getting by. But some people have extreme poverty situations, and that's what this was. It was a poverty simulation where we went in and you were given money and you were given scenarios as to who you were and the all these horrible things that you had going on. It was just really, really tough stuff to deal with. That, you wonder why parents are not more engaged with you as a teacher is because they've got 5,000 things troubling them and worrying them, and you need to be sympathetic to that. And so, a simulation of any kind, I think, that puts people in there, like these kids reading those scenarios, I think it really something you never forget. And I love that idea. So, super idea there.
Thank you.
Have any of you ever participated in that type of poverty simulation? Is your school system? So I see Kaylin did. You did at your school?
Microsoft 365 subscribers can create a.
That was weird. But anyway, I thought there for a minute there was somebody speaking up. I didn't know who it was. But yeah, so that is something that was very beneficial to us as a faculty. But certainly any type of simulation idea that you could do with your kids would give them that feeling of wow, this is what it would be like. Can't beat that. All right, Michaela, you're up next. Michaela, I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Okay, okay, I'm gonna start over. Sorry.
That's
I
okay.
did a standard third grade. Use a compass rose to identify cardinal directions. The engaging activity would be students will receive a treasure map of the classroom using a compass rose to follow the directions. Go 5 steps north and 3 steps east to find like different treasures. So money bucks. I do this with my kindergarten students where we do a store on Friday. So I think having that in third grade with the money or different prizes, like you were saying, they're still kids. So they like I got a piece of candy or I got that. So having those treasure activities would be fun for them to kind of go look for it.
Yes.
And this is basically the instruction of telling what they'll do. Each student, they'll get in a small group, they'll get a classroom, the treasure map, and at a starting point, it'll be marked on it. The teacher will review on how to demonstrate to find north and south and east in the room, considering using a classroom compass or labeling the walls with north, south, east, and west. They will follow the cues, just like we said, start at your desk, take 5 steps, and then when they get to their treasure, they will write it down. Then they go north and they collect their prizes at the end. That's it.
I love that. I love it. I love that. They would love that. They would eat that up. Anytime you offer them a prize, you know you're winning.
Yeah.
Big deal. Yeah, you're definitely winning. Third grade, fifth grade, doesn't matter. They all go for a prize. I go for a prize myself personally. I like prizes, don't you? All right. Next, I also heard this guy one time say something about he was saying that, a lot of times it seems like how shall I say this? You are kind of trying to get them to do something, but you're going to give them something for doing it. And some people were being negative about this. And he says, well, don't you like a paycheck? Same thing. You love your job. I'm sure you love your children, but listen, folks, you got to pay the bills. You love your check at the end of the month. You should. So it's the same thing. They need a check. They need a little prize along the way. Never hurts. All right, Sherry, you're up next.
Professor Snellgrove, I am on vacation this week and I forgot my laptop.
Oh my goodness.
I am on my sister's laptop right now, but I can tell you that my standard is because I wrote it down, I typed it on this paper. My standard is SS4H5A. Explain the causes, major events, and consequences of the Civil War, and identify Uncle Tom's Cabin and John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry, and explain how each of these events was related to the Civil War. I chose a fourth grade standard. And my first activity was my engaging activity was to have the children sit in a dark room with their eyes closed, and I asked them the question, what if you lived in a world where anything and everything and everyone could be taken from you because of the color of your skin? And let them sit down and think about it, and would that be fair? Okay, and then I actually read some excerpts to them from Uncle Tom's Cabin and ask them how they relate to that and try to relate it to the real world experiences as of today. Say, for instance, like there are a lot of people there are a lot of students who are being placed in foster care, taken away from their parents and stuff like that. And I will associate that with today's real world experience. Okay, and John Brown's raid on Harper's Ferry. That was my second engaging activity. With that, I would ask them would make them understand that actions have consequences. Um, and instead of going directly into John Harper's Ferry, I would have a student enact something that was wrong to do, or something that they thought was right, but it was really wrong to do. And then ask the class what did they think about that, and how that would affect them. My third engaging activity was the trek north from south. And I would have the students follow signs on the floor. I would draw signs on the floor and have them follow signs on the floor to see if they could make it to the north by just reading the signs. At the end, there will be a prize, but not a real prize. It would be like your mom is there, or your family is there, but your mom is a candy. You get your mom. You know what I'm saying? That's mine.
Good deal. I was going to tell you, if I could have actually shared out if you had it already dropped in the Dropbox, I could have shared your slides, but you did fine without them, so no worries. No worries at all. All right, Kim, you're up next.
Slides, Richard.
Can you guys see anything?
Not yet.
Okay, tell me, when you're sharing screen, you press the share screen button, right?
Yes.
And after that, what do you do? Because
there should be something that comes up on your screen. I don't know if I can share mine, but
okay, but can you share it for me? I already dropped it in the Dropbox, if you don't mind.
I'll try.
If you
give me
can.
just a minute. Let me see.
Because
hold on.
It's
give me just a minute.
I think mine's came up. Is that mine or yours? Well, that's yours.
That was mine.
Yeah, it's because I don't know why can't I. But I did drop it off before I started class, just in case.
Just a few seconds. See if I can do this without exposing the whole class. I think what I can do is I can go in to that Dropbox. Let's see. That is in week what? 5?
Yes.
Or 4?
I think
it's in week 5.
5.
Yeah, it's week 5.
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking for the presentation. Okay.
Yeah.
So here are the presentations, and I'm going to download the submissions. Hang on. Hopefully it won't take forever.
I could also email it to you if you need it, but
that's okay. I think we got it. Hang on.
Oh.
Just a minute. It'll just be a minute. Okay, so here we have the submissions. I don't know where they went. Oh.
It's downloaded to your computer. You gotta go to your file. Yeah, hit the folder.
Okay. Go to the folder over here.
Go to your folder because it's downloaded already on the computer. You gotta go to like the file folder.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. I wonder what that is. Surely that's not it. Hold on. Let me go here. I don't see it. Let me see if it's over here. There it is. Okay, I'm going to stop the share. Just a minute. Hang on, guys. So you can't see. Y'all can't see my screen, can you?
No.
Good. Okay, hang on. Hang on. Okay, Kim, I'm going to share my screen now.
Okay.
Share, and it's going to be this right here. Share. Okay, can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, so I'm going to try to push it down,
Please.
and
Okay.
you will do the talking.
Okay. Hi everyone. My name is Kim Leader. Today my standards is SS3CG1. It's a third grade standard. It says to describe the elements of representative democracy, republic in the United States. There's actually three sections to this. It's section A, which is described the three branches of the national government, which is the president, the legislative, the Congress, and the judicial, which is Supreme Court. Then the SB, the part B, is described the three branches of state government: the governor, the legislative, and then the third would be the state and the main responsibility of each branch, which is executive branch, which is the branch that enforces the law, legislative, and judicial. Okay, the next slide.
Okay.
Okay, for me, I love planning three activities because I love rotation, and that's how I find that students like hands-on activities more. For the first activity, I actually did this one already too. It's kind of like a mini student council group act. It's an individual group activity, whereas students will form a mock government right in a classroom. It's like a mini student council where they're gonna write down why they want to run to be the class president, and what kind of rules they think that in class or in the school as a whole that you think need to change, and then what we're going to do. Actually, it's like a week or 2 week unit because I've done it already, where it could span out to about a week to a week and a half. So this is like a whole group, individual week activity. Then the second activity is our study card mix and match game, where they'll write down the words and the definitions, and then they're gonna be that's the second center. Then they're gonna flip it over and just try. It's like a study guide. It's like trying to study. So it's like students will create flashcards with vocabulary words, and in small groups, they will complete a mix and match recognition challenge. Whereas the ones that pair the correct definition with a word, that have the most cards, is the winner. That's group number two. That's activity number two. And this is my personal favorite, which is create your own country project. I actually did this already too, but on a fifth grade level. But I brought it down for a third graders could still do it, but not as in depth like fifth grade, where students will design their own imaginary country. They will form a government, create laws, and assign roles to classmates. With this one, I find that working in groups, when they're working like groups of three or four, like when you do pairs, when you have like three or four, to me, it works more. And this activity brings civic understanding of life, and it lets create. You can see how, like, even creating their own flag, to me, you should see like, okay, what does that mean? Why you have that symbol on your flag? Well, Miss Leader, it means this. So I love seeing this part of the project because actually I've did it already. That's why I love this one, and it brings out the creativity, and it lets them. They basically it goes under the whole concept of the standard.
Yes, it does. I think it would be excellent. I think they would love that, and they would certainly learn from it. Very, very good.
Thank you so much for sharing for me. Thank you.
Oh, that's no problem. Thank you all for being patient with me. Now let me get off the share button. Okay, I guess I just quit sharing, didn't I? Okay. Do you see that anymore? Did it go away is what I'm asking. Okay. All right. Next up is going to be, I think, Iris.
It's still sharing.
Oh, it is?
Yes.
Okay, hang on. Let me stop. Yes, I need to stop the share. Well, it should go off. Let's see. Did that stop it?
No.
Did that stop it?
Yeah.
Now that stopped it.
No,
Okay, there we go. We're all learning. It's all a learning curve. So, hey.
Okay, good afternoon, class. The standard that I did was, I also did SS3E1D, entrepreneurship, risk-taking, and, uh-oh, let me move this, combining natural, human, and capital resources in attempt to make a profit. What I have the students doing is that the students will review natural, human, and capital resources by watching a video. Um, Students will participate in the following engaging activities. First, the students will pair up to create a business map on a Google slide. The business map should have the type of business they're going to do, whether it's the business name. They will have to identify a natural capital or human resource that they used in their business, and what type of product or service will their business supply. So they could do a service or a product that they're going to sell. And then the second activity is connected to the first. Everybody will hang their business around the classroom, and everyone will have a set amount of money, and they will have to go around and visit the other businesses and decide which business they're going to either buy something or service, or which ones are they going to barter their services for. That way they know that they only have a certain amount of money to spend, so they're not going to be able to buy everything. They're going to have to really discuss it with their partner, like which product are we going to buy, or which service we're going to buy, or what are we going to try to barter.
I love that. That is such a good lesson, guys. That's a good lesson we all need. We didn't have enough of that in school when I was in school. That's very good.
Thank you.
All right. Letitia, will you go next?
Okay. I'm going to share my screen.
Mm-hmm.
All right, can you see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so I did mine on SS3CG2, explain the concept of three branches of government and the idea of separation of powers in the federal government. And then, so the activity, the activity I did was student would transfer the classroom into a mini country. They'll be assigned roles in legislative, executive, and judicial branch. So with the legislative branch, they would propose fun classroom laws like extra recess or pajamas day.
Love that.
Executive branch will approve or veto the laws. Judicial branch will decide if the laws are fair. And this hands-on helps students understand how the three branches of government work together and why each one matters.
That is an excellent activity, and really bringing it back to them, isn't it, by allowing them to decide what the law or what kind of fun law they could create, and they would have a ball with that, I am sure. Excellent. That's what we should do with kids, especially in the classroom, coming up with classroom rules. It should always come back to them. Let them have a say in as to what the rules are. Excellent. All right, LaTanya. Great ideas so far. Go ahead.
Okay. Can you see mine?
Yes.
Okay. The standard that I used was SS3ED, and that's explain how most countries create their own currency and use for money. The activity I picked was to have students design their own currency, understanding the role in trade and economics. Each student imagines a country that they will invent. They'll create their own country, and then they'll create their own currency. And we will break up in small groups and allow the children to kind of pick and choose which is the best money to use. And then we would have a second activity where they'll go around the room purchasing things with their money to see the value of their money.
And how far their money will go.
Yes.
how little, how short that time can be. So
and you'll
yes,
be surprised at who keeps their how well they manage their money when it's their own money.
That's right.
You're a little more selective on what they buy.
Exactly. Like my daughter used to do me in the store. It would be, she would, oh, I really like this. I said, well, you have some money. And then she would say, no, use your money, Mama.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, it's your money. That's something you want. You're going to buy it with your money. So that is a lesson that kids need to learn.
Yes,
great to see that being taught, because I don't think they taught that when I was in school, or at least I wasn't listening. Rachel, are you up next, please? Great ideas, everybody.
Sorry.
No, you're fine.
Okay, so I have a third grade standard SS3G1A, locate major rivers of the United States of America, the Mississippi, Ohio, Rio Grande, Colorado, Hudson, and St. Lawrence. So the first activity, they'll work in groups and each group will be assigned a river and they'll create a poster identifying the river on a map and then provide some additional facts about the river and then they'll present those to the class. And the second activity is like a write the room. So there'll be clues about different rivers and around the room, and the kids will have to walk around the room, find the clues, and then record the answer on their recording sheet.
I like that. Gets them up and at them, doesn't it? Yeah, moving around the room, finding clues. Excellent, excellent. Anything's better than just having to sit there and listen for kids. All right, Lauren, you're up next. Coming down to the last row, I think.
Okay, so my standard is SS3H1. It's a third grade standard. Describing early American Indian culture and their development in North America, and compare and contrast how American Indians in each region use their environment to obtain food, clothing, and shelter. So we will do kind of a design your own shelter. So the class will be split into small groups, and then they'll be given a region. And based on the region that they have to build the shelter to match that region card. So there's materials here that they can use, and they have to build like the housing that they had, like whether it be an igloo or a teepee or whatever. And they'll build a model of how shelters were in their region back in the day. And then they'll present to the class.
Oh, that is awesome. I mean, you just can't get any better than that right there, folks. And when they're creating their own inventions of whatever, that's magical. They'll love that. Very good.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. All right. Nikisha, would you go next, please? Wow, this has worked out really nicely. Thank you. And by the way, I want to commend y'all on doing these short slides. Wow. Kudos to everybody. Because some of my classes in the past have not been that successful with a short slide. So I'm impressed.
Can y'all see it? Hold on.
Give us just a minute.
Make sure.
It may take a minute for it to share out. You may have to go back and reshare it.
Okay, hold on.
Just click off of it and try again.
Okay, hold on.
No problem.
Okay, let me try again.
Sure. Oh, there it is.
Show.
Yeah,
Okay,
we're
hold
up.
on.
You're up now.
Okay, hold on. Let me get back to Zoom. I'm ready. Okay. Oh, I don't see it. Is it there?
Yeah, we can see it.
I can't see it. Hold on. I don't know why. I can't see it. Hold on, let's see.
Can y'all see it? Okay.
Okay. Hold on. I don't know why. I don't know why it's not letting me see it, but I can just
You
hold on.
can you wing it?
Yeah.
Can you tell us?
Because I have two computers. I have two computers.
Okay. Okay.
I can tell you what I did. My standard SS3H2. H2 describes European exploitation in North American, describe the reason for the obstacles to the explorer of the North American. Um, I have three stations, so it's three activities.
Mhm.
What they will be able to do first, as a whole group, I have a video for them to watch. They'll watch the video. Then after the video, I have stations set up like three different places. My first station is mapping the routes of Explore. So what I would have is a map, and I have them. I have my lesson plan up too, so that's gonna help me. I have them trace like the routes I have for the different explorers. We have John Cabot, Chris Columbus. So we have different ones, and I have them use like different color markers, and they will like map it out, distinguish each explorer journey throughout the map.
Mhm.
Then I will have them label like hold on, let me go down, the mountains, river, landmarks. Then that what they'll do. And let's in station one. Hold on, let me go down for station two. Station two, they'll create a timeline. I'll have like cards for each one of those names on it. And as a group, they will make a timeline. So each child will they'll make a timeline as a group. They will talk about it and make the timeline.
Mhm.
Okay, hold on. My third lesson is sorting. So it's just like I found something on Teacher Pay Teacher where they could get all those Chris Columbus and all that, and they're put it together. So
Mhm.
they'll use the facts to put it with the right explorer. So that'll be
Gotcha.
my third
Mhm.
activity. And they'll
Good
just
deal.
glue it and match it down. Yeah.
Yeah. And that would help them learn those
Yeah.
facts.
And that'll be
Yeah.
helpful with assessment when you do
Yes, it
assessment.
would. Yes, it would. You can tell who who has grasped and who has not. So yeah, good deal. And I love stations, guys. I do. I taught with reading and math stations. We didn't have time for, well, I guess our science and social studies was in our reading curriculum, but I'm just saying that was the majority part of my day was in reading and math. And we did 4 group rotations, and I cannot tell you how that changed my teaching, because that was very different from me, because I am from the old school where we were taught to use small groups, but it was a total different concept. But that has changed now, and pretty much in any kindergarten classroom you go in now, across the board, you're going to see that rotation. You're probably going to see it in math as well. You all seem to be familiar with that. I'm sure your school is doing very much the same thing. If not in, I know they're doing it in pre-K and kinder and possibly first. They may not be doing it in second through fifth, but I think that kids in any age would benefit from some sort of rotation work, whether it be reading, math, or science, social studies, whatever. Enough of that. All right. All right, Miss Kimmy, can you go next? You're muted.
I apologize. Hello, everyone. How are you?
Good.
All right, I'm going to share my screen now. Can you all see?
We're going to in just a minute. Give us a minute. There you go.
All right. Let's see if I can move this thing over.
You got it.
All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I don't know. It's kind of messing up on my end. Can you all see it?
We can see it. You're just at closing questions. You might want to go back to your original.
Okay, one
first.
second. Let me stop sharing.
Okay.
Okay, and I'm gonna go back.
All right. Take your time. It's fine.
Okay.
No worries. Believe you me.
All right. Is this better?
Hang on. We'll tell you.
Okay.
Okay. You're back. You got it. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So again, hello everyone. I focused on the social studies fourth grade standard. All right. So even though I teach first grade, I decided to do fourth grade. I wanted to focus on the standard for the Voices of Freedom. I'm sorry.
You got it.
Okay. All right, so I wanted to focus on SS4H4, which would examine, I don't know why I can't say that, but the abolition of the suffrage movement. Basically, my activities would be to make a live wax museum where students will dress up in their character that they would pick, and they will state facts, whether it's Frederick Douglass, Harriet Tubman, Sojourner Truth. They would just pick their person. This activity would mainly be a whole group activity in the classroom. So it's like a whole group activity. Other classrooms could come in and see, of course, or everybody on that grade level could come in and just listen to the facts. They could also utilize a prop so they don't have to really just fully dress up in a costume. The second activity for this standard that I decided that I thought was very good and hands-on would be the cereal box challenge. Basically, you might see students use poster boards. I thought it was a very unique idea to utilize cereal boxes where they would it's independent work, but they would use that as they would post pictures and facts all around the cereal box, and we can display it around the classroom. Of course, the closing questions here, just to engage them just a little bit more. So that's all I have.
That's excellent. That is an excellent idea. I love the cereal box challenge. I love that. You can do 101 things with a cereal box. Forever I used it in my classroom as a kindergarten teacher as the Valentine carrier. Many times decorated that. But what a unique way to get them to bring in those cereal boxes and then decorate it with their favorite person there that you've just gone over, picking and then putting the facts on it, like you said, and make it like a cereal box. Because I know I'm in the generation where we used to read the cereal box while we ate our breakfast, whereas kids today probably don't. But I know some of you in here might be that way too. But a cereal box was very entertaining. I think it was entertaining to my own two children, more so than today. But that's a great idea, Kim. Thank you for sharing that. Excellent. And Ursula and Kayla, are you my last one? And Jamara, I know you have not shared. Is there anyone else that has not shared out? I don't want to miss anybody. Okay, so Ursula, you're going to be next.
Okay. Okay. Okay, so let me try to make it. Is everyone able to see it? Let me see.
Give it just a minute. It sometimes has a minute to click in. There it is.
Can everyone see it? Okay, so my name is Ursula Clark, and today I decided to do something over third grade. So the standard that I use is SS3CGI, and that describes the elements of representative democracy, republic in the United States. And so I chose A before time's sake. So describe the three branches of national government: executive, legislative, and judicial branch.
So one of the things that I do, and I've included this in my lesson plan, is my activities are a reflection of my prior day. Like, so day one was the presentation, teaching them about it, the videos, all of the informational part. So this is day two. That's why it seems as though it has so many things. Activity one is them role playing different representatives in their roles in government. To me, that is going to be my visual part of my whole purpose of doing this. My second thing is going to be my activity, my activity number two, which is informal. I took this and I chose a matching game, and the students will sort, and then they will also be able to match the three branches with pictures, job descriptions, and leaders. And the reason why I picked certain things is stuff like a gavel, something that's not
Yeah.
so easy, like kindergarten matching, a first grade or second grade. It's
Right.
like what does a gavel represent? The presidential, maybe the flag, like what they have like on their jackets or blazers when they have that. That way the students can be able to study, because when everyone comes home, they don't really exactly study or don't have
That's
the
right.
materials to
That's right.
properly study. So I don't want that to be something where they just listen to me and then they never did really comprehend the information. That's my biggest part. So I put informal, and then the people that'll be in small groups. How I will have my small group selected is going to be based upon data. Okay. And so my activity number three is going to be a formal one. It's the assessment over the branches, national government, and roles. Oh gosh. I already know what it says, roles of government. But
Yes.
that is what I would do with them. It's gonna be more of kind of like matching the three branches, maybe like a question of just kind of describing it, but mostly kind of like they'll just be them finished doing it, like their activity too. So right here, I don't know if you can see my mouse, but this is the type of things that I would teach prior to that day, and then we do a review of different things that legislative, judicial, and executive branch, different things that they do. And then I just put a little picture of them kind of on that one-on-one type of time, maybe three people inside of a group, but them just kind of being able to rotate and be able to match with that. So that'll help the students accommodate them in several different ways, as far as like being able to study the informal, the formal, the visual aids that they need. And like I said, this is more of my day two part. So that's why I have so many different activities, because my students, they have a clear understanding that day one is going to be the day that we go over the PowerPoints, that we have the informal videos. Like they know that, and they know like, okay, day two is when we have to do the activities, but we have to know what's going on to be able to do that. So I have the many different options, because if I'm like, well, hey, we're on our best behavior, do we need to take this out and go straight to the assessment? Just kind of that type of thing to keep them on course, to keep them focused. But day one, they've already learned this prior. But like I said, day two, they'll be able to do that for several different reasons. And the role play, that'll be fun, of course. But the matching, that will too, but I feel like they're learning and not knowing they're really learning, or really not being able to study. And then the formal part, the assessment, that's that one of those things that if we have enough time, how comfortable I feel by me observing the students, to kind of see how they are with matching and being able to kind of describe it. So that's going to help me know, how do I need to give that formal?
Yes.
Or, do I need to maybe do a quick review prior to that?
I think that's excellent. Everything you said is excellent, and you're right on the point that not everybody gets to study when they get home. So this is an excellent way to make sure they learn it before they leave school. It's more hands-on, it's more direct. They've been given one day where they've been given the facts, and then they're going to act on those facts that second day. That is powerful. And then, of course, you've got the fact that you are constantly looking at what they are able to do in really all three groups you have planned. So you will have a good understanding of who is mastering it and who is not. So that's excellent. Nothing but fantastic ideas there. All right. Next is going to be, I believe, Kayla. I know you have not shared out. And I will let you do that if you are ready. Kayla, are you ready to share out? I know we did some email exchanging. You
Yes,
must be ready.
I'm ready to share.
Okay. Go ahead.
Can you see it?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. All right. So I did a third grade social studies standard. I did explain that governments provide certain types of goods and services in a market economy, such as schools, libraries, roads, police, fire protection, military, and pay for these through taxes. My activities would be, if I ran the town budget challenge, the objective would be to learn about the local government and decide how to spend taxes. So the students will work in groups with a fixed tax bracket, and they must decide what services to fund and why they can't afford it. And then groups will present their budget decisions and explain their choices. And then the second activity would be a classroom town simulation, and that objective would be students would stimulate a small town economy where they would fund taxes through their public services, and students will be assigned jobs and provide them with money, and they will be able to see if they can go to different stations to see if they're able to afford it. And the more money they have, the better the services, and then they'll start to see that increase.
That is awesome. Okay, again, simulation's where it's at. That's where they get the most out of it, I think. And the fact that they would have the opportunity to really see how a town goes about spending taxes and how those holes in the road are fixed with your money out of your pocket, and making that real to them, I think would be a really eye-opening experience for them, because I don't know that they know that right now. So that would be awesome. Awesome job. All right, Jamara, would you please share out, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, have I missed anyone? I don't want anyone to miss out on this massive opportunity here. I think everyone has shared out except Jamara. So, Jamara, I'll let you take it away.
Okay. Is it allow me to share it?
It should. Just give it a minute. Just click share at the bottom on your Zoom link screen. At the very bottom, there's a green button down there.
Yeah, I see it, but it won't.
And then you should be able to click on it. It should give you a box where you'll have.
Give me 2 boxes at the bottom, but it won't, like the part that says share is gray. It won't light it. It won't highlight it. Wait. Okay, wait a minute. Here we go.
It will. Just give it a minute. You get it. Yeah, you're doing it.
Okay. Can you see it now?
Yeah, we got it. We got it. You go.
Okay. So I did my standard over SS3A11 and SS3A12. They both kind of went hand in hand. The first one is analyzing primary and secondary sources, and the second one is utilizing timelines and identify and describe important dates of history. So my first engagement activity was they're going to be a history detective, where students will basically go around the classroom. Okay, yeah, that's right. Students will go around the classroom, and we're gonna do like if they find history facts, and they're gonna gather them all together. The second one will be a show and tell, where they can bring an object in from like new millennium or back in the past, and we could talk about it. And then the third one would be then and now comparison, where we'll compare the old days until now, like far as communication wise, they used letters back then, and now we use cell phones, and we'll just talk about it like that. That's all I have.
That's good. Good deal. A great way to get them to think about, the world is not as it is now. The world changed. The world has changed and evolved. It's because we didn't always have cell phones. Back when I was in 1982, when I was a senior in high school, we did not know what a cell phone was. And we came out pretty good. So there's that. And now we have them everywhere. Yes, Sherry, your hand is up.
After listening to these, can I change mine?
No, you're not going to change anything. Don't change yours, but it is great.
It's so old school, and I'm trying so hard to get out of the old school way of doing things.
You're going to be fine. Just share what you had. Don't go back in there and recreate anything. No, ma'am.
I would love to recreate it, though.
No, you don't need to do anything to it.
Ideas. Oh my.
The ideas are amazing. Everyone, outstanding job. I think you have nailed this after doing so many lesson plans in here week after week and deconstructing standards. I totally see that you get what we're trying to, or what we've been trying to convey to you, the importance of making social studies alive in your classroom. We all know on a daily basis that that is probably hard and impossible, especially if you don't have a schedule that allows it. I think Kim Leader spoke up and said her school did, whereas I know a lot of schools just don't have priority time for science and social studies. I think it's kind of a second thought, but we're more geared toward reading and math. And that's unfortunate because there's going to come a day where we're going to get blessed out because they don't know facts about science and social studies. It's coming. And so then what do you do then? So it's great that you can include it in your curriculum at some point during the day. But this class is all about making it real to the students because as many of you have shared in here, the first class, that you didn't have any, you don't have real care for social studies. You never really liked it. You didn't like it when you were in school. It wasn't engaging to you then. Therefore, for you to teach it, it's something like me when I start talking about math. It's the last thing in the world I want to teach, much less talk about, because math is just not my thing. Well, you may feel this way about social studies, but hopefully you've been inspired in somehow because you're really creating some fantastic ideas and ways to create engagement for students. I don't think there's a plan that was shared that was not engaging to students. I think you could take any of these plans and you could automatically put them in a classroom and watch the children thrive. So outstanding job for planning outstanding lessons. I have not had a problem with that at all. And going forward this next week, if you've already previewed, you can tell there is no lesson plan. There is no fifth grade lesson plan yet. It's coming the following week. This week, there are several different assignments in that week. One is a historical figure. One is it's a scavenger hunt using, I think, the internet with your students. And number 3 is where you're creating a economy or an economic design. I can't remember what the name of it is, but you're doing that. So you have 3 major projects. They're not all due next weekend. There's one due on that Saturday, I think, and that's the one that you're going to present out. And the other 2 fall in the next week. Okay. I've made everything available to you. So if you want to work ahead, if you are ahead and you want to move forward, you can. The directions are there, the rubrics are there, and you should not have any problem. If you do, you just email and I will answer you the best of my ability. Now, we're going to stop for just a minute, and if we have questions, I will entertain any questions you might have. Yes, Anthony, yes.
Hi. So I just have a question. For the assignment that's due tomorrow, for the social studies teaching activity for the 3rd or 4th grade, right? Like the lesson plan.
Yes.
Underneath it, like right above the document, it says to create a kindergarten or 1st grade social studies lesson in the blank lesson plan.
No. If that's on there, just omit. It is all about what 3rd and 4th grade. Yes.
Okay.
Is that on the template?
It's on where you submit the assignment. So it's right above the
it's just a
template.
typo. It just needs to be changed.
Okay.
She didn't change it. I'll go in and change that. And what is that in this week's? That is in this week's
Yes.
module. I'll go change that. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out. And that's just like the templates for all the lesson plans. They're all the same. And I know that there's been times when you've gone in there and you've clicked and you can't get it. You can't get the template. Well, if you've downloaded the template one time, you have it for the whole class. Yes, Kim.
Okay. Discussions. I've been looking on the discussions. Let me see where it is. 3rd grade resources. Based on your resources, do we have to answer those discussion questions? Because I don't see it under the grading portion of the assignments.
It
You
was
do
my
have
understanding that you would. However, she may not have set that up to be graded. I'll have to go in there and double check. There are several of those in there. I think there's one on third grade. There may be one on fourth grade and fifth grade where you're looking at the resources.
yes.
Isn't
Okay.
that what the question is?
Yes.
I'll have to double check. I don't know. I don't know how she set that up.
It doesn't have a timeline, so my question is, I don't want to be,
When is it due, is what you're
yeah,
saying. It
when is
doesn't
it
have a due
due?
date
Yeah.
on it?
Doesn't
Okay.
have a
Let me
due
go
date.
back and check on that. I don't know. See, I didn't set this up, so that's problematic for me. But I'll figure it out.
Is it a third grade resource?
It's a
It
third grade
says
resource. Then you have kindergarten has content too. You have to answer some questions and
Two
create your
of them, two
oh,
of them do have a date. One of them is due
it say
tomorrow. I think
15.
third grade is due tomorrow,
third grade is due tomorrow. Okay.
and another
Discussion.
one is due on the 14th, I think.
The
Okay, I'll
15th.
go back in and
If you
check
look
and
at the
make
bottom
sure.
of them, it'll show you the date at the bottom.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay, it is.
Do you
Yeah.
see them now? Do you see the dates? Is there one that doesn't have a date?
One of them don't have a date, and then
Can you
one of
tell
them
me which one that is?
Hold on, let me go. I'll go in real quick. And see.
Okay. So
It's
I'll
the
make
one
sure it
that
has a
says fifth grade resources. It doesn't have
fifth
a
grade resources. Okay.
Okay, and
Has
then
no
the
date.
third grade resources is due tomorrow.
Okay. What it's asking you to do basically is go back and look at those third grade resources that was in the instruction page where you look at the
Yeah.
website, just review it, see what you think about it. And is as asking you to ask a question about it, or how do you feel about it?
It's
What
actually
is it
asking three
asking?
different. It's asking three different questions. Then I think you need to
Make a
reply back to two
response.
of your classmates.
Yes, it's just a discussion board. Yeah,
Yeah.
you put your reply or your post, and then people are going to go up under it and post. But it was real sneaky. Like my discussion boards stand out by themselves, and this kind of is snuck in there. You don't really know this is a discussion board, in my opinion. I didn't create this. Remember, it's not me. Don't holler at me. But I'm just saying. Excuse me?
Is it going to be graded?
I believe it is, but I can't tell you that for 100%.
It's not on the graded part, because usually when I go to my stuff, I do everything, but I make sure that I put the graded stuff, and I'm not on there.
That's what I said. It's not on the grading part, like what Ursula is not there, but it does say possible points, 12 points. Even though it's not there, like Ursula said, that's what I was looking at.
Folks, I'm
So-
going to have to go back and redo this or check it out and see what's going on. Okay.
Personally,
I mean, this is the way I feel about it right now. If it's not graded, why are you taking the time to do it?
That's my thing. Right.
I mean, I'm sorry, but if it's not graded, why are you going to waste your time? So I don't know what the deal is. I'll have to go back and check on the discussions. I did not know about this. What I mean is I thought they were set up to be graded. I don't know. Okay. I'll check on the discussions for you. That will be something that will be my homework. I'll finalize that and I'll get back to you about that as quickly as I can. So very good. Thank you for asking me these very important questions. I would have not known that if someone had not mentioned it. Thank you. Anything else that we can clear up before we adjourned? Okay, so as painless as possible, we've completed another class session. You have given your all, you've presented out. Thank you all so much for doing such hard, creative work and coming up with these ideas. Well done. I have nothing more to say to you other than have a great rest of your day. If you do encounter a problem with the modules or with the questions or whatever, don't hesitate. Please email me. I will answer you as quickly as possible. All right. One more time. Are there any concerns anyone has or questions? Do we get 2 thumbs up? All right. Everyone have a great rest of your Saturday. Thank you for coming to class. Well done. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.